A character, Alan Joseph, played by Roshan Matthew, asks his wife Achala, "Didn't your mother used to say that a slow flame cooks the best food?" This actually summarizes the entire essence of this show. Hi, I'm Pratiksha Mishra and you're listening to my review of Poacher. क्या मस्त शो है. There is very rarely a show that just feels like it has so much heart in it कि कुछ कुछ फ्लॉज आप देख के भी नज़रअंदाज कर देते हो कि चलो ठीक है यार, इतना अच्छा शो है, कुछ ना कुछ गलत तो होगा ही. I was kind of thinking about the Jengabaru Curse जो पहले आया था, which was so well written. It was, I think, kind of a sci-fi ecological thriller, but it fell short because उसका execution उतना अच्छा नहीं था. With Poacher that does not happen. This is a show that is both writing-wise, direction-wise, acting-wise, and technically, that's not both, no, that's 4 things. But either way, all of this is so sound. Poacher is based on the 2015 investigation into the ivory poaching in India and is essentially helmed by an amazing Nimisha Sajayan as the protagonist Mala Jogi. माला जोगी बहुत ही एक कंफर्टेबल लाइफ लीड कर रही है अपने बर्ड सेंचुरी में, दो शी इज़ काइंड ऑफ अ लिटिल क्यूरियस कि अभी जितने बर्ड्स आया करते थे उतने क्यों नहीं आ रहे हैं. वी गेट अ बिट ऑफ अ हिंट इनटू वेयर द शो इज गोइंग फ्रॉम हियर. बट इस कंफर्टेबल लाइफ से उनके सीनियर उनको बोलते हैं कि भाई इधर आ जाओ, बहुत बड़ा इन्वेस्टिगेशन करना है एंड वी नीड यू बिकॉज यू आर आवर बेस्ट. It feels like she's a superhero, and that is probably why her staunch idealism or that stoic nature does not feel that off-putting, क्योंकि आप उनको स्टार्टिंग से एक सुपर हीरो की तरह देख रहे हो. Her senior Neil Banerjee, played by Dibyendu Bhattacharya, used to be a raw agent but is now working in wildlife conservation. We find out that his motivation is कि वो अपने बच्चों के लिए या अपने successors के लिए एक healthy environment छोड़ना चाहते हैं, and he thinks that if everything goes the way that it is going, the way that his health has been affected is going to be the reality for everyone around him. The best thing, the absolute best thing about Poacher is कि वो कभी भी अपने natural setting से बाहर नहीं निकलता है. In the sense that when they're in Delhi, you can hear गाली गलोच, you can hear stray dogs barking, the sound of traffic. और जब वो forest में shift होते हैं, आपको forest का ambient sound सुनाई देता है. The way language plays a role in Poacher is very interesting. कभी भी ऐसा नहीं लगता है कि they're trying to create a pan-Indian show. It just feels like a show that's rooted in India. A lot of languages come and go in and out constantly throughout the show. जैसे कि Mala and Alan speak to each other in Malayalam when they're conducting their investigations. It's mostly conducted in Malayalam. When their senior is speaking to them, he switches to Hindi or English. They themselves switch to English बीच में. And at the same time, we see how when Neil goes home to his wife or his niece, he's speaking in Bengali, which is his native tongue. One issue with Poacher is that it kind of starts to lull in the middle. उनका run time episodes का बहुत ही लंबा है, बीच में 45 minutes to an hour I think at some point. I loved episode 2 of the show so much that I think मुझे इसलिए बाद के 2-3 episodes थोड़े से dull लगे in comparison. Does not mean that they're bad episodes, but if you're not binge watching it, I don't think that should be much of a problem. One thing that might kind of stand out for everyone is that it feels a little too dramatic towards the end. जो good versus evil वाला battle था, of like these good agents, these few good agents having finally tackled all the bureaucracy, found the rich and powerful and are now trying to take them down. Huge stakes in any show, immensely massive stakes. But ये बहुत ही ज़्यादा dramatize हो जाता है last के episode में, and it feels a little fake, which is kind of a sad thing क्योंकि even the CGI animals in the show are eerily real, so it just stands out like a sore thumb. CGI animals की अगर बात करें, I just love the way the animal characters in this show are just present throughout the show. जब आप इन animals को cityscapes में देखते हो, you feel like they're out of place, but ये feeling तब नहीं आती है जब हमारे human characters एक गाड़ी लेके जंगल में से जा रहे हैं. It's a great insight into how humans have encroached upon animals' natural habitat. A lot of these animals also act as motifs on the show, from seeing eagles when they're surveillance to seeing bats when they're working बहुत देर रात को. The way that this show has just weaved the animals into the show is amazing. क्योंकि अगर आप poaching पे show बना रहे हो and your entire focus would have been on human characters, it would have seemed like cruel irony. Poacher is written and directed by Richi Mehta, जिनका नाम आपने पहले दिल्ली क्राइम से जुड़ा हुआ सुना होगा, which in itself is a great show. उस शो के कुछ shadows भी आपको यहाँ देखने को मिलते हैं, from just the nuanced portrayal of security forces without making them completely whitewashed to just the staunch idealism of the protagonist. Even as our main team captures one poacher after another, they have to reconcile with the fact कि ये सब उनके नाक के नीचे ही हो रहा था. That it kind of signals lapses in their own team's judgment. Poacher does not want to give you easy answers. It does not ever say कि ये 3-4 लोग अच्छे हैं, ये 3-4 लोग बुरे हैं, and it's just this versus that. It's always kind of digging into its own premise. It's figuring out कि any person who's acting a certain way, why are they acting that certain way? Even if it is something as simple as guilt or greed, The show is not interested in painting any of them in black and white. For a show like this, camera work is very, 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 very important, and in this, thankfully, it is done beautifully well. हम लोग वो white shots में वो पूरे जंगल का scene दिखता है where you can truly marvel at the beauty of the landscape and also see कि जो हमारे human characters हैं, they're so small in this vast landscape. And then there are these highly emotional moments जहाँ पे कैमरा आपको close-ups देता है, reaction shots देता है, where you can truly understand a character's psyche even if they're not saying much. This obviously is also a huge credit to the director and the writers for the way that they have written these scenes. The sound design itself is also amazing. जैसा कि मैंने पहले कहा था, this show never leaves its natural setting, and that is not possible without having great sound design. To wrap things off, Poacher is mostly held together by its cast. The supporting cast is brilliant. The main cast is even more so. We have Divyendu Bhattacharya in a character that almost feels Oogway-like from, what is that, Kung Fu Panda? Yeah, he feels like a mentor, but ऐसा mentor जिसका बस हो गया है, उसको बस ये खत्म करना है और निकलना है वहाँ से. He just wants to leave a better world and a better department. We also see his love for turtles that starts off a little bit like a quirk or maybe a secret strategy becomes a metaphor for life and aging and family, and it's just so nice to watch. Roshan Mathew has a bit of a family man-esque arc, जबकि मनोज बाजपेयी का character was more frustrated to the point of being comic, but Roshan Mathew chooses more earnesty. There are some scenes that could have felt cheesy, but because of his performance and that of his wife played by Ranjita Menon, just bring it all together and just make it adorable. Like I said, some shows and some performances are so good कि some flaws you're just being like, चलो जाने दो. And the show's main protagonist, just Nimisha Sajayan, at her best. Honestly, one of the best performances I've seen in a while. She is constantly being watched. Her character is always under surveillance in a way. लोग देख रहे हैं कि, oh, what's her next step going to be? They're kind of wondering, is her mask going to fall? Is she finally going to break? Is she finally going to be able to absolve herself of her guilt? All of this watching makes her very tightly wound. But at the same time, there are moments where you see sincerity. You see how this is a character that is genuinely just wants to save the environment, but is also doing it for self-serving reasons. And this is just at the heart of Poacher. It understands human psyche, animal psyche. It understands just the own beating heart that's at the center of it, and that is what makes it such a phenomenal watch. ठीक है, बीच में 2-3 problems हैं, but I would suggest that you kind of let them go and stay with the show till the end, because like a slow flame cooks a great dish, a slow burn leads to a great show. And that is why my rating for Poacher is 4 stars out of 5.